1972, T-Rex released the follow-up to Electric Warrior. Great album. Great. Their second best, in my opinion. What is it? It's on Rhino Records. It's from 2002, although I found this in 2005 at a Best Buy, which I was really surprised to find because T-Rex are very, very close to, like, they're considered one-hit wonders over here. So when I saw this in Best Buy, I was very surprised. But I was also surprised as to how much it cost. The version I'm holding here, yeah, it's the 2002 reissue, and it comes in a digipack sort of a thing here. Then they did this for the albums from The Slider up until Dandy and the Underworld. It comes in this trifold sort of a thing here. You get the original album, and then you get a second disc, which has outtakes of the songs from the album sequenced in the original album's order. And if they couldn't find a song or an earlier version of one song, they replace it with another song from around that time. And they call that the alternate, whatever the album's name is. Yeah, I'm really not interested in the second disc. I just want the first disc. This is why it took me this long to get all the T-Rex albums, because it was expensive, because there wasn't any other... I mean, I was still not familiar with how to order things online, or really wasn't big on waiting for things. These things would cost like $20, given you're getting 2 discs here. But recent years, these gone down in price. So, all right. Now, as for the album itself, Slider. The tracks, Metal Guru, great opener. Mystic Lady's good. Rock On's good. The Slider is great. Weird lyrics, but great, great, great song. I remember being very happy when it was used in a Coca-Cola commercial about like 2005, Baby Boomerang, which I think was used in a commercial not too long ago, probably like a year ago. I can't remember what it was for, but Baseball Ricochet's good. Buick McCain, later covered by Guns N' Roses. Telegram Sam, possibly my favorite on here. Rabbit Fighter's good. Baby Strange, great. Ballrooms of Mars, great production on there. Chariot Shugal is fun, and Main Man, which might be a little autobiographical there. If you like Electric Warrior, you'll like this album. Trust me. Go ahead and get it. And you can get it you can just get the 1 disc now. 1973, T-Rex released their next album. And this is an older reissue. I got this, A Beard of Stars, and the self-titled album some 10 years ago, all for $9.99 before a used CD store closed. So this is an older reissue of it from 1997. It sounds good. Now, as for the album itself, it's good, but it's not as good as Electric Warrior with the Slider. I still think this is a pretty good album. Look at the tracks here. Tenement Ladies, my favorite on here. Rapids is good. Mr. Mister, apparently how the band of the same name got their name. Broken Hearted Blues, struggling to remember. Shock Rock is corny, but it's fun. Country Honey's fun. Madonna's fun. Born to Boogie. Life is Strange, great song, and if you've seen Dallas Buyers Club, it is used predominantly in that movie, specifically for Jared Leto's character. Mystery in the Babe Shadow, Highway Knees, struggling to remember them. And then it ends with Left Hand Loop and the Beggar Boys. That's a good one. The bonus tracks are also very good here because you get some good hit singles here with Children of the Revolution. I prefer the one in the Born to Boogie movie. So I'll go to Easy Action and 20th Century Boy. Yeah, you can already tell that Mark was sort of losing it here, that something was not, that it was sort of slowing down here with Tanx. But for what it is, I think it's a good album. The popularity of glam rock is slowly declining, and around this time, people were starting to lose interest in T-Rex. They released an album in 1974. There's some good glam rock hooks on here, even though the popularity was declining. I mean, the music that was coming out was still decent enough. With Marc, I think he was just running out of ideas, and he was, I think, trying to move it in a more soulful direction. Hence why he got Gloria Jones and a couple of the backup singers who really did distract from this album. And that's one of the things about this album is that it just sounds like there's too much going on here in the production. I mean, aside from being a saloon and Teenage Dream, is there anything else here? Liquid Gang? You Gotta Jive to Stay Alive? I mean, that's a great title. The song, I can't even remember. Yeah, this is not a very good album. I mean, it's okay at best. 1975 comes along, and the band released another album, and that album, I think, is the weakest of the 12 albums that Marc and T-Rex released. It has the problems that Zinc had, except this is much worse. The backing vocals, again, stick out like a sore thumb. Songs are just very bland and boring. With the exception of Light of Love, Think Zinc, and Zip Gun Boogie, everything else I can do without it. This came in the mail today, and it looks like the T-Rex albums, at least from the slider up until Dandy and the Underworld, they're all now on Fat Possum Records. This isn't a bad album. This is pretty good. I'll say it's better than Zinc Alloy and Bolan Zip Gun. It has its weaknesses, but it is a good album. Jupiter Layer is good. Chrome Sitar is pretty cool. All Alone is on there. New York City is a lot of fun. I think he also had a hit with Dreaming Lady. And there's a couple of album tracks here I like. My Little Baby is pretty catchy. And I like Sensation Boulevard. Come 1977, Marc saw a bit of a resurgence. At this point, punk rock was very popular, and most of the guys in the punk groups were naming Marc as an influence. But by this point, T-Rex were losing members. I think it just now came to the point where he was the only guy there, him and Dino Dines. With all the recognition that he was getting from all the punk rockers that were making a name for themselves, it was just a perfect time for him to, make a comeback. And he did with a 6-episode music show and another album. And as it would turn out, this was to be the last T-Rex album. I really like this album. This is really good. This is really a comeback album for him. For this album, Marc had Dino Dines, and he had session players like Miller Anderson, Herbie Flowers, Tony Newman, all these sessions guys, and they made this really, really good album. In terms of favorite songs here, the title track was great, possibly my favorite. Crimson Moon I like. I Love to Boogie became his first hit in a while. At that point, good album, really good. That was the last album that Marc would release. His show was pretty successful, and he was going to have a second series for it. But unfortunately, September 16th, 1977, Marc died. The story goes that Marc and Gloria were going to a party. They drove back. Gloria was driving, and she lost control of the car, and it crashed into a tree. Gloria had some injuries, which she went to the hospital for and was able to get out of. But Marc was killed on impact. Very, very shocking because the guy was really making a comeback, and then all of a sudden, the guy dies. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And what was even worse to come was that the guy didn't have a lot of money. I wanted to mention there's a good documentary up on YouTube about who stole Marc Bolan's millions. I don't know if that's the title of it. Go ahead and Google it or YouTube search it. It's a documentary from 2003 about what kind of legal binds Marc was in, or how much money he probably would have had these things not happened. I just read 2014. Roland Bolan was given his father's songs and ownership of them, at least in the United States. What happened afterwards, after Marc died, well, Gloria was the one driving the car, so people started giving her a lot of crap, thinking that, oh, she may have done it on purpose, she killed Marc. She decided to leave the UK and took Roland with her, and they went, I think, in California, or I think they lived in California later, because that's where Gloria originally came from. It was only a couple of years ago, in 2011, when Roland Bolan revealed in an interview that David Bowie basically saved his family's life. I mean, here's the thing with Marc Bolan and David Bowie. People thought of them as being, they were competing against each other, which they were, but it was all friendly. The guys were buds. So much so that David became the godfather for Roland. So when Marc died in 1977 and Roland grew up and trying to get him into school, apparently David paid for Roland's education and made sure that Roland got into private schools where the children of famous people went into. He just kept sending money to his godson. And unfortunately, during the time of that interview in 2011, Roland had mentioned that he hadn't seen Bowie in years. You can go look up on YouTube. Roland gave a good interview about December of 2016, and he talks about David Bowie there. And so I think that's just a great story, and it's very, very touching that, David kept an eye on Marc's son. Unfortunately, after the passing of Marc Bolan, a few other members of T-Rex have passed away. In 1980, 3 years later, after Marc died, Steve Took, he died. Apparently, this is very unfortunate. He choked on a cherry cocktail, but he was under the influence of heavy drugs. Steve Curry, bassist, died similar to Marc, a car-related accident. I think he crashed into a bridge. Mentioned by Mickey Finn, he died from cancer. And then in 2004, Dino Dines passed. I think it was a heart attack. So with that, there's still some members of T-Rex around, but of that classic lineup, Bill Legend is the only guy that's left. Now I will mention or talk about the set here that I have. And the thing that I've been showing here, which has all the Tyrannosaurus Rex albums in, is this thing here. I made a video about these sort of little box sets, which I like to call budget sets, because you're getting 5 albums for $20 or whatever the case may be. Well, I got this for $14, and this came out just last year. I pretty much immediately bought it. So what I have here, what this is a series called 5 Classic Albums. Now, if you look on the box here, it says Tyrannosaurus Rex on the bottom, but it also says T-Rex here. That's because it comes with the following albums. You get My People Were Fair, Prophets, Seers, and Sages, Unicorn, A Beard of Stars, and Electric Warrior. For some reason, the self-titled album from 1970 is not in here, and they put Electric Warrior in here instead. Now, I bought this almost immediately. Even though I already had A Beard of Stars and Electric Warrior, this makes sense to get. Only because if you get these 3 separately, you put in the shipping and the tax and whatnot with it, that's more expensive than getting this. So it's much cheaper to get this. The only release that you can get on DVD is Born to Boogie, which is the 1972 movie that T-Rex were in. It's a concert film directed by Ringo Starr, of all people, and it's a mix of concert footage with some really weird comedy. Even though the movie got a VHS release, the movie was thought to be lost for some time. Sometime before 2005, the reels of film were found in Ringo's garage. Not only did they find the movie, but they found a whole other concert that was recorded. So they took those things, put them in a 2 DVD set, released it in 2005, and it is the best T-Rex DVD you're going to find. Now, unfortunately, it's not in print here anymore in the US, although I did check eBay yesterday, and you can get it for a good $20-ish used. Some people are still selling their copies. You can find a handful of documentaries on YouTube and elsewhere. But if you're looking for something like hard media, Born to Boogie is what you want to look for. So check that out. And yeah, that's basically it for me. If you've watched all this, thanks, and talk to y'all later.